All right, everybody, welcome to Vaidya's Chess Hub. And we were having a nice discussion about what you guys do to keep yourself fresh and entertained. Welcome, everybody, and I'm seriously going to salute you. You're just brilliant, you guys, because these are testing times and you still try to keep yourself engrossed and busy. That's very important. You always keep yourself busy with something, and I'm really I'm proud of all of you. Wonderful. So let's get started with today's work. What we are going to do today is we are going to go through 4 study games. And by the way, all 4 games are with the white perspective in mind. The first game is e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop b5. So this is the Spanish game. This is the Ruy Lopez, and black responded with the move a6. Now, when black plays a6, what you must try to do is avoid the exchange. Well, there is of course this line where just bishop takes c6, d takes c6 is played. However, bishop a4 is definitely better, which white did over here. My favorite move. If I play the Spanish, d6, white castles, and black plays f5. Here, white pushed d4, which is like a center break or something. Black took on e4, and here there are 2 popular lines. One is what I will show you right now, the other one is for you to study. The one that I'm going to show you is knight to g5, but also popular is knight takes e5. So you can check out knight takes e5 later after the stream maybe, and at the moment we will see what happens if knight g5. So knight g5 was played in this game. The idea is very simple. Knight saves itself and also attacks the e4 pawn. Black sees the opportunity to win that d4 pawn as well, and you can see that black has a very strong center. Of course, this pawn at the moment is hanging. It is white to play. Now here the main thing to decide is whether the white knight should take on e4 first, or should it be queen taking on d4 first. It's very important. Now the thing is that in deciding that, what you must take into account is initiative and tempo. What I mean is, let's say if queen takes d4, the knight cannot take, because at the moment, well, the knight is pinned by the bishop. It's an absolute pin right now. Also, after queen takes d4, knight and queen both will be attacking that e4 pawn. So rightly, the white player took the pawn on d4 first. Again, I would say it's not a blunder. The knight is here completely pinned, so the queen cannot be taken. Black developed his pieces, time to take his development seriously. Of course, the knight is defending it, but defending it only once. However, if you see, it's attacked twice already. So white is going to win that pawn. That is what happened, followed by bishop d7. Now, bishop d7, guys, is a very important move. The reason why I say that is because now black has renewed the threat. Black is saying that I was in pin, I was not able to take the queen, but now after bishop d7, black definitely says knight takes d4 is definitely on. Now it is here that you must play with initiative and tempo. So I am going to give you probably only a couple of minutes to come up with a plan here. So 2 minutes for you, just 2 minutes for you. It's white to play here. How can you play with some initiative and tempo? Think about what's the most forcing line here. Something that black will have to deal with. Couple of minutes should be enough here. That's not what you have to think majorly here. That part will come later. That's why I have offered only 2 minutes. Let's see what you guys are saying. So far people are into their hot mode. thinking mode. Prajna, well, you probably joined in late. Well, whose ID is Sharda Patil? Whose ID is that? Sharda Patil, is that Avdut? No, I don't think it's Avdut. Is it Avdut? So far, Vihang thinks Rookie won and he says that he's probably seen this game. We will find out, Vihang, if you have seen this game, because you have to do some major thinking later. This was not the major part where I want you to think. So the time is almost going to be up. I'm going to soon reveal whether Rookie 1 is indeed the move that I also have in mind. Okay, the time is up and 100% guys, 100% Rookie 1 is the move. Now if you're wondering, now what the hell is that? Because knight can just take the queen, right? Well, if black goes ahead and takes the queen, then you must see that knight takes d6 is in fact checkmate. Knight controls f7 as well, and it's a double check. So in a double check, the king has to move and the king has absolutely nowhere to go. So black really has no time to take the queen there. That's why Rookie 1 was played and black did not take the queen. It's very important. Black did not take the queen. So if knight takes the queen, then knight takes b6 in fact is checkmate. Alright, so what happens here? Black made a prophylactic move here. He played king f7. It's a move that is called prophylactic move. I repeat, the word is prophylactic. So the way to continue here is bishop b3 check, and of course after king to g6, white played queen d3. The idea is to move the knight and have a discovered check, which would be very lethal. Now black has to be very careful here. Black cannot just play carelessly. There is a definite threat. So I will show you the threat and then I will give you 4 minutes to think, not 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes to think later about what white should do. Well, let's say if black plays miserably here and plays something like a5, disregarding that attack. Well, then now it's mate in 3 after knight g3 check, knight to e4. The king has nowhere to go. Notice that the king has nowhere to go. All the squares are taken. So the only way to get rid of this check is to play knight e4, and after queen takes e4 there is king f6 or maybe bishop f5. In any which case it's just checkmate. If bishop blocks it, then queen takes f5 is checkmate, and if king f6, then knight to h5 is checkmate. So of course black has to take this seriously. What black played was knight e5 here. So black is saying that, hey, if you are going to move the knight and give the discovered check by the queen, why don't I attack the queen here? So now we will find out whether you are really sure about this, and especially Vihang, because this is what happened. Black has just played knight e5 and now it is white to play, and I am now going to give you your 3 minutes of thinking time. Let's make it 4 guys, because this is a seniors lecture and I want the seniors to give me their 100%. So it's white to play here, and what is white's best try here? So your time will start now. It is white to play. See you at the end of these 4 minutes. Try to give me a complete line, especially seniors. This lecture is meant for you. Go into deep thinking mode. I've given you enough time. All the best. Okay, the time is up. People were constantly saying that probably what they are saying and what they think is queen g3 check. But then the point of it all is that if there is queen g3 check, well, then the point is that the king doesn't have to move. Everybody is saying, hey, the king will come to f5, the king will come to f5, but the king does not have to come to f5. He can simply play knight blocking the check, and then there is no way there is mate. So if you were thinking queen g3, well, that is wrong. You got to say, I mean, really, that was overconfident. And maybe the juniors are just copying what the seniors are saying. Jai also thinks that queen g3 is the first move. Well, here is a surprise. And Ojas, I'm a little surprised that you thought that it was just so easy. It's not like that. In fact, now let me reveal that Chinmay has got the correct move, but Chinmay, it's not just made in two. In fact, it's a long sequence here, and Vihang finally has cracked it. So congratulations. Well done, Vihang. That's absolutely well done. Brilliant indeed. That's no doubt about it. Absolutely. Soumitra, no problem. You tried your best, but we were not able to decipher. You were not able to solve the enigma. Well, Vihang has definitely cracked it. Let me show you. Well, it is forced mate in 7. It is forced mate in 7. That's the most important point here. So the way this continues is knight takes d6 check. Now if you're thinking what check is that, well, it was a discovered check with the queen. Okay, and now the thing about this check is that if knight takes the queen here, then as Chinmay said, bishop f7 is just checkmate. As it doesn't look like it, but what a beautiful checkmate this is. Unbelievable. So black player still does not have time to take the queen. We saw that earlier as well. If knight would have taken the queen, then there was mate on d6. So with the same view, black cannot take this queen. So after knight takes d6 check, well, there are a few options. If black is careless and just blocks it with the bishop, well, then there is queen takes f5 checkmate. There is no doubt about. However, there is one variation where there's king h5. If that happens, then there is rook takes e5 and losing everything everywhere. In fact, after this, it's just easy checkmate. It's made in 2. The best try black has here, the best try is just to play this knight blocking the check, which is of course hanging anyway. And queen takes e4. Again, if king f6 is made in 2 after queen takes e5, this knight is also hanging. It's attacked twice. So let's say if king h5, then there is queen takes e5 check. g5 blocking it. If king goes to h4, then of course there is rook e4 check and mate follows. Black can try to block this check with a pawn and now just bring the king out into the open. If king g4, then rook e4 is mate. And if king decides not to come in white's camp but to stay along, in his territory, then rook e4 and then followed by rook h4 is the mate. Notice that this pawn will be pinned by the bishop. So all in all, the correct way to continue is knight takes d6 check. Let's look at the variations. If knight takes queen, then bishop f7 is horrible mate. It just doesn't look like mate, but it is. And well, after bishop blocks the check, it's simply queen takes f5 mate with the knight support. If black tries king h5, then rook takes e4 and mate follows in 2 moves after that. After knight takes g6, d6, the best try is knight blocking the check. But then black will lose both the knights and then mate follows very soon, regardless of where the backing goes. Let's revise the game one more time before we go to the next one. It's just a beautiful game. I'm sure you've understood all the variations. You are free to analyze it later. Watch this game again later. So after bishop b5, black played a6, bishop a4 by white, d6, castling, f5, d4, center break by white. Black took on e4. Now in this game we analyzed knight g5 variation, but of course knight takes e5 is also very much playable. Please analyze this. I've shown you the red arrow is what you can analyze later. However, in the game knight g5 was played. Black immediately sees the center. We saw that white had to make a decision whether knight takes e4 or queen takes d4. Queen takes d4 was played, utilizing the pin and also double attacking this weak e4 pawn. Black played knight f6, but white captured, got the pawn back. Bishop d7. Now the threat is renewed. The knight is not pinned anymore. White played rook e1, and we saw here that if knight takes the queen, then knight d6 is just checkmate. Knight takes d6 is double check, and it's mate. So black has no time to take the queen. Black played a prophylactic move, king f7. By prophylactic, I mean that he showed caution. So he tried to avoid that. Discovered check was always the threat. The knight would move and this discovered check. So black played king f7, bishop b3 check, king g6, and queen d3, setting up a discovered. Black played knight e5, hoping that if the knight moves and gives me a discovered check, black thought I'll take the queen, but nothing like that works after knight takes d6. Brilliant game indeed. And let's see what happens. Now, what I want you to do as homework is, let me go back. As homework, what I want to do is that I want you to analyze knight takes e5 line. This can be taken as your homework. So let's go through this sequence of moves again. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, the royal pass, and after this bishop retreat and d6, this move where black clears the f file for the rook to come into play, and white plays knight takes e5. Analyze this line later. That is definitely your homework. Okay. We will now proceed to our game number 2. All games today are from white's perspective. I hope you all are ready. Let's proceed with that. Game number 2. e4, e5. So are we going to get a Spanish game again? No, this time it's the Scotch game. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4 is the Scotch game. Pawns were exchanged, knights were exchanged, and d6. After this, white probably wants to castle on the queen side, so knight c3. Knight f6 was played. Black wants to castle king side. Bishop f4. I think now the plan is very clear from the white side. Wants to probably castle long, bring the rook on the d file. Bishop to e6. Long castling, as we all had thought. Bishop e7. So maybe black's intentions are to castle on the king side. Whenever you have such opposite side castling, the games are always interesting. It is here that the firework begins. White pushed the pawn, playing with initiative and tempo. So the black player clearly has to make a decision here. Whether he wants to take the pawn, whether he wants to save the knight. What happened in the game was pawn takes pawn. And after queen takes e5, the rook has unleashed attack on the queen. Notice that. Bishop d6 was played, not just covering the threat, but also creating a threat of his own. The black player is playing actively. Bishop b5 check was played. Now notice here that if black plays c6 just to block the check, then this d6 is hanging. That's very important to note. So rook takes d6 attacking the queen, and then bishop can be saved. So that c6 is a very bad way of blocking the check. But what black did was knight d7. And now you have to calculate everything from here. I'm going to give you your 4 minutes of thinking time from this position. Go into a deep thought mode. It's white to play here. What would you do as white player? Calculate it deeply, and more importantly, if you think there are variations, go ahead and reveal as many variations as you can. All the best, and we will see each other, or rather I will probably talk to you at the end of this countdown. Okay, last 10 seconds. So Jay thinks that first we'll take with the bishop, then we'll take with the rook. However, Swaroop and Vihang say that first we'll take with the rook and then we'll take with the bishop. The time is up and now time to reveal the correct answer. Well, what Swaroop and Vihang said was spot on. Soumitra, what happened? I was hoping that you will definitely give me the answer. Soumitra says rook takes d6 should be the first. However, let me tell you that queen takes g7 is just perfect. However, rook takes d6 was actually played in the game. Queen takes g7 is also very playable, but let's see what happens. Saumitra's line was actually played in the game. Both the lines are winning. That's why I gave you 4 minutes, guys. So those who are saying queen takes g7, yeah, you analyzed that. But I think Soumitra has also shared a line which will work. So I'm showing you what happened in the game. In the game, he played exactly what Soumitra is saying. Rook takes d6, c takes d6, then queen took on g7. This looks very logical, is it not? And then after rook f8, like Vihang and Swaroop C said, after that bishop takes d6 and this is game over. This is curtains for black. This is just curtains. Notice that this will be checkmate as this knight is pinned by the bishop on b5. Got to understand that sequence. The knight on d7 is pinned, so queen takes f8 is going to be checkmate. The knight will not be able to take that. However, let me show you why this works. The point of this is that this looks very promising and with initiative and tempo. However, if you go ahead and play queen takes g7 line is also winning for white. So Swaroop C and Vihang, what you have calculated is okay. However, there is one twist in the tail that you did not calculate, which is this hanging bishop with a check. I think Patil said it, but I'm yet, I think it was Namish who said that maybe. So bishop takes f4 is a check. It's very important that we have to understand that. And so after white plays king b1, then black is in a position maybe to go back with the bishop on d6 or maybe play rook f8 or something like that. So I like what was played in the game. The knight d7 and then rook takes d6 is, I think, immediate. So the idea of Vihang and Swaroop, the idea is the same, but you play rook takes d6 first because it is very crushing, as Soumitra is rightly put it. Wonderful indeed, absolutely brilliant. Let's take a look at the entire game one more time before we go to game number 3. By the way, Ayush, for you, the homework, my dear, is to open an account in Leeches. It is absolutely free. Please go ahead and do that, Ayush. Your homework is to open an account. Okay, Prajna. Prajna is saying that I said it. Okay. The game that we just saw right now is with the Eco C45 and was played at some European tournament, but the players are not IMs or GM. This game was played in Europe and it was as early as 1926 when this game was played. Those are the details. Swaroop wanted to know those details. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, pawns were exchanged, knights were exchanged. Black plays d6, knight c3, early signs of queenside castle by white. Some people like castling queenside. Beginners, they think that rook comes into play very early. It could be a right strategy. Sometimes it works. So after long castle, black plays bishop e7. He wants to castle short. No such time because white plays e5 immediately with initiative and tempo. And after the queen took the pawn, unleashing discovered attack on the queen. That's the main idea when you castle long, is it not? Even in the England gambit, yesterday we were playing with a very experienced player. We had a very winning position. We messed it up. But we had the same idea where we make the queen uncomfortable when it is faced, when it confronts our rook. So that's the idea here. After bishop d6, check. And I have told you already that c6 is a bad idea because of rook takes d6 winning tempo on the queen. So c6 is not good. Black blocked the check with the knight. And here the approach rook takes d6 is just absolutely brilliant to finish it in style. There is no way black can come out of this. So anyway, wonderful, wonderful. The idea was the same, what Swaroop and Vihang said, no doubt about it. But I think rook takes d6 is a more direct approach Next one, game number 3, please. All are from the white perspective. Ayush has a question. Sir, why we castle first? Why we don't do in the middle of the game? Well, Ayush, the simple idea is that castling ensures the safety of the king. So as a rule, just remember, this is for Ayush. As a rule, you should remember, Ayush, you should castle as soon as it is possible. Ayush should remember this. Castle as soon as it is possible. So when you play the Spanish game, you can just castle on move number 4. That's as fast as you can do it. Okay, so castling is always good, and always touch the king first. Do it as soon as it is possible. Okay, now I will say that it's not a rule that you must castle queen side or king side, depends on the position, but however, some players definitely like queen side castling more. They think that the rook becomes very active on the d file suddenly. But then there are so many times when the king and the queen gets on the same diagonal, and there is this annoying pin as a result. Happens. Hopefully I've answered your question, Ayush. Let's get started with game number 3. E4, E5, what's up this time? Knight F3, Knight C6, what's it going to be? It's Italian this time. Bishop C4, the Italian game. And are we going for a fried lever attack? Well, no sir. This is what modern players nowadays like to play. Just bring the bishop outside and just close it with the D3. Just remember that. Again, this is the game. This is one game, guys, like our game number 1, where I will need you to do some deep calculation. Not right now, but I will tell you when the time is right. Just let's start with this, okay? The position is lost. So I think Kavish is saying that in the last position, black was definitely going to be checkmated. Yes, if he stops the checkmate, well, then he will lose heavy material. Very important. Prajna has cracked a very beautiful joke. She's saying that I castle in the end game. Well, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant, Prajna. And Prajna, I have been told by seniors that you probably were playing very fast. You lost with over 5 minutes remaining yesterday. So I will have some feedback for you, Prajna. But at the moment, let's come back to the game. So after D3, just remember this idea after Italian opening. Nowadays, just put the bishop on C4 and close it with the D3. So that's the idea. Bishop C5, Bishop G5 pinning the knight. And well, after that, what happens is castling by black, Knight C3, D6, Knight D5, King was played to H8. Now here, white played Bishop takes F6, G takes F6. Now what white played was interesting, Queen D2. So white is not very keen on castling. He wants to keep his options open. And this position you will not believe, but it is equal. This is okay. The thing is, white is well, you know, closing his cards, not revealing his cards yet. But this position, believe it or not, is a draw position. So although black's definitely opened up his king side, castling has been smashed open, but black is definitely okay here. But he has to play carefully. Let's see what happens here. Black played the move F5, wanting to just clear this diagonal for the queen and maybe just get some open play, something like that. The pawns are anyway doubled. Now I will give you probably your 4 minutes of thinking time here. Calculate it thoroughly about the continuation and come up with something really good in these 4 minutes that you have. White to play here, come up with something. If there are, like the last game, if there are variations, try to study the variations as well. All the best. See you at the end of this countdown. Okay, the time is almost over and majority of you were thinking on the right lines, guys. I'm so proud of you guys. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. You were thinking on the right lines, guys. Now, the thing is, oh, Rupak, you just joined us. Welcome, Rupak, but why are you late, by the way? Okay, you said that you had some class. Okay. Now, the point, guys, is that your first move is absolutely right with queen h6. And well, f6 is not the best defense. Soumitra, this time you probably have a little bit of thinking to do. f6 is not the best thing. Rook g8 was better. What black played in the game was f6, and that's why there was immediate danger. Now what happens was knight h4. So f6 is the line that you had to study. Let me show you what others were thinking. Well, you were saying that there is rook g8. Well, if there is rook g8, then knight f6 is just too much, is it not? How is there any way? I mean, rook g7 is the first move here, and after knight g5 is really curtains. I don't think there is anything better. There is queen e7 or maybe queen f8 or something like that, but then there is h4. But then the thing is that black could have at least survived for a little longer. This is +5 or +6 according to the computer. However, in the game black played f6, what Soumitra thought was the best. It's not the best, but black played that. And now knight h4, there is definite pressure on f5. Also, now putting pressure on another square, which is knight g6 check. By the way, the pawn is pinned, so there will be a fork. Notice that it's a multi-purpose move, so I'll remove that arrow. The main threat is knight g6. The pawn on h7 is pinned, so the threat is knight g6 check. And after king g8, that would also be a discovered checkmate. After knight takes f6, maybe the bishop will also check. So accordingly and rightly, rook f7 was played. And now it is mate in 3, guys. From here, mate in 3. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this. 2 minutes, mate in 3 from this position. It doesn't matter whether you could think of it or not think of it. Trying your best is all that is there, okay? I have the annotation in front of me, you don't. So the thing is that nobody says anything to any player here. Your calculation, you do your best, that's all. So I have considered 2 minutes, sorry, I beg your pardon. 2 minutes is all I want to give you guys. 2 minutes, guys, 2 minutes. It's mate in 3 here, guys. Mate in 3. Can you calculate the moves quickly? See how many of you can do this calculation. It's mate in 3. How do we go about it? Vihang is the first to crack the code. He's saying, what is his line? He's saying knight g6 check, and he's saying king g8, knight takes f6 check, queen takes f6 and queen f8 is mate, and it looks pretty. Vihang is saying, what a mate. Now, do you agree with that? You have another minute. That's it. You just have a minute more to agree with it. Sharda Patil, who's Namish, that's Namish, is it not? So Namish, you have no idea, really? I think the first check is very basic. Vihang is 2000 rated, is not a GM yet, but one day we are hopeful he'll do something, Swaroop. But Vihang is a strong player at 2000. Okay, I think people have come up with the right ideas. There's no doubt about how this will finish. I will reveal it in another 3 seconds. The time is obviously over. Okay, let me show that to you now. The idea is quite simple. Knight g6 check, the pawn is pinned. Please remember that. King g8, and what follows is knight takes f6 check. Notice that the rook cannot take the knight because this time the rook is pinned. There is nowhere for the king to go. Queen takes f6 is first, and queen f8 is a lovely mate, and that's why we have said what a mate, because notice that this rook is pinned and is supported by the knight. It's a thing of aesthetic beauty and class. Absolutely brilliant, and this is really brilliant. Why is there no camera? Because there's a technical issue with the webcam. I'll get it sorted. At the moment we will make do with the image, that's all, but very soon, well, I hope in some days we will have the webcam back. Okay, don't worry about it. The inconvenience is regretted, so just be happy with the image that I have put here for the moment. Okay, let's take a look at the game again. The game is with the Italian, with the modern idea of d3. That's a new idea. You can try that in your games. Just put the bishop on c4 and d3 and life is good. So the pin and then the knight on d5. Of course, over here black is not worse, but I think that the f5 and then the f6 was really bad. And after this, knight h4 is multi-purpose move. Attacking f5 as well twice, no doubt about it, because the pawn is also attacking it, but I think g6 is the main target square. Rook was played to f6, and what followed was a beautiful checkmate. Alright, last game for today, guys. After this game we will assess of what you want to do. Yeah, a bunch of lions. Vedanta has a very good idea about using the mobile phone as the webcam. Well, we will do it. At the moment, I will definitely consider your suggestion. Let's see what happens. We will give it some time. Last game. Okay, I was saying that after this, Prajna, we've understood your point. After this, we will see whether we want to do tactics or should I go for a quick game. We'll decide it after this game. Let me know. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. What's going to happen this time? Spanish it is. This time there is a retreat, but it's a kind of Berlin. Knight f6, castles. Bishop e7, d4, center break move. Knight takes d4. Some thinking will have to be done for later. This is a very well-known line. And after knight moves, queen g4. Now this is a line that you must remember. As a white player, this is very aggressive. So should black play g6 here? Is that the best idea? Or will it work or will it not work? Because white's plan is also taking on d4. It's a fork. And it's a very bad kind of fork. So black did go for g6. He did not want to have queen takes g7 on the board. Well, white did not take the pawn on d4, instead went bishop h6. Now Ayush, if you are listening to the lecture, I once talked about how black cannot castle here. This is especially for beginners. Well, black cannot castle here because the square f8 is covered by the bishop. So black will have to cross this f8 square in order to castle. Well, that's not allowed. So black cannot castle. Sarup, not Sarup, sorry. Ayush, I'm sure you know of this rule, right? 100%. Because you have watched the video on castling that I recommended, I think too. Okay. So black cannot castle here. So what did black do? Attack the bishop. Drop the knight back and black is attacking the bishop. Now queen takes d4 was played, winning the pawn back, lending support for the bishop as well. Black took the bishop. Getting the bishop for the knight is probably a good idea. And here white played e6 instead of taking the knight on a4. And by the way, now what black played was saved the rook. And it is here that I want you to do some calculation. Let's see now if you can do it in the next 3 minutes. I am in a mood to concede 3 minutes for this. All the best, and your countdown starts now. I will talk to you at the end of this countdown. Alright, the time is up, and the main thing here is that this is a very long checkmate to calculate, and I am wondering if I can give this to you as a very nice homework. This lecture is meant for the A batch, is it not? So just remember what I have revealed right now is the way this checkmate is going to work. It's a very interesting line where there is checkmate in 14 moves and everything looks forced. If black plays worse, then he will be mated early, but if black plays the best, then white will need 14 moves to checkmate from here. 14 moves of calculation. I think it is the best to ask the seniors to do some calculation here. Why should I just reveal everything? Ayush takes homeworks regularly. I think you guys can also take this homework. Come on guys, come on. It's made in 14. And I've shown you the sequence of all the other games, but then this is nice. Set this position. Now I will give you probably a minute to jot down this position. Okay, let me just give you a minute to jot down this position. Get your notepad or whatever it is, guys. Your time is started. I'm going to wait for just this 1 minute. Please jot down the position. White to play here. White to play here. Please note the position. Share your answers on WhatsApp group or put your comments below when you see this video in the archive. Hi, Alan Thomas has joined us. Probably he's late today. What happened, Alan? Joined us late. This is the homework, Alan. Copy this position. It's white to play, and there is some serious thinking to do. Black cannot escape here. Black is going to be mated in 14 moves. 14 moves. Please make a note of this and make sure you send your entries on our WhatsApp group or as a comment here. Something like that. And we have about 7 minutes more. So kindly tell me in the chat now whatever it is that you want me to do. We have 7 minutes left. Do you want to go for a couple of tactics? Do you want me to go for a 5+3 game? What is it that you want me to do? Please let me know. Waiting for your suggestions, and accordingly we will decide what we want to do. We have now 6 minutes. Should we go for tactics, or because we have only 6 minutes, otherwise it will be an extended session, guys. Or maybe 3+2. Yeah, some people are suggesting 3+2, but 3+2 is also fine. I don't mind doing that. 5 minutes would probably be a little too much. Yeah. What are the seniors saying? Have I got answers from some seniors? Swarup says tactics leeches. Chinmay saying game. Then you have Alan saying do tactics. What do you say? Has Bihang given any reply? Ojas will play on Tuesday. I always play with everybody who comes online, and I will accept 3+0 challenges. We will definitely play on the live on the stream, and that will be on Tuesday 6 o'clock. Every Tuesday we do that. Every Tuesday. I'm waiting for seniors to share something. Vihang, what have you done? Calculated 14 moves? What's your calculation? I'm just going to hide that from everybody. Ojas, my dear Ojas, I will definitely play. Come on, but that's Tuesday. At the moment, 3+2 looks in majority. Well, let's go for a 3+2 game, and let's hope that we will be able to, play very well, because the time is very, very tricky. I'm going to go for the England Gambit, the one that I have been trying lately with good effect. Yesterday as well, we had this wonderful opportunity to win. We messed it up because we blundered the h6 pawn. And okay, I'm attacking this pawn twice now. Can go for the knight, can go for the spin here if he castles. And I have knight d4. Going to extend the pin. So looks like a good game here. And knight d4. This is going to be interesting. Should I just take on e2, give a check and maintain that pawn thing, or it's damn interesting here. Can take here, that's a threat. I'll get this exchange and maintain this. Maybe ask a question now to this bishop, what he wants to do. Gone back. He can also do this. So I'm going to just probably push c6. Just trying to end these things here. Our opponent is very, very, very high rated. His rating is 2130. So we are putting a very decent fight here, at least for the moment. Our king is in the open, but hope to put the rook there. And the bishop needs to be dropped back. Let me get this done. You can give a check here for sure. Let's give a check here. Let's come back later. Let's then come back here. So far so good against 2130. Not bad at all. Now the threat is quite simple to see. This pawn is pinned, so wants to take here for free. Will I allow that? Should I allow that? No sir. So far so good. We are lacking on time, by the way. That always happens. Now this is the check, and I think I'm going to take. I'm going to take the opposition. Of course, I have to be careful with this bishop. So if the rook takes, I'm going to have to take with the rook. Those are the kind of things you must not miss, guys. If rook takes rook, I cannot take with the queen because this bishop over here is hanging for the moment. Got to be careful. Have to take with the rook because this bishop was hanging otherwise. Now he's taking the opposition. I think I have no problems in going with this. He has to take with the knight, followed by this move queen. I'm attacking the knight, threatening check, winning the exchange by force. I must say that I'm really very happy with the way things have gone. So far, so good. No problem at all. For the moment, things are looking great. Should I go for it? It's a big question here. Should I go for it, guys? I think I don't want to go for it, right? Come on, why should I? Let's make some more advances. If he wants to go for it, let him. Time is the issue here. Time is the main thing, guys. Time is the main thing here. Kshitij just joined us at the time when we are almost going to say goodbye. Kshitij, what happened? Where were you, man? Now he has built a kind of a fortress. This is losing for us for sure. And moreover, we have 34 seconds. But I must say that we did handle this very well. The queen exchange is probably the time where seriously we could have been equal. I'm going to analyze this after the game is over. We'll surely see where we could have done a little better after the queen, that is. Look how nicely he is utilizing Well, that's really very little for us to do, quite frankly. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I think we can resign here. I will resign this. Okay, but what I need to analyze is the possibility where we had this queen exchange going. No, that was still plus 1.9 or maybe plus 1.7. So maybe what we could have done better is not avoiding this particular queen king side castling opened up. Maybe I'm saying. Plus 0.8 here, so bishop, okay. The bishop check is 1.5. Aha, b5. Exchange was good. Yeah, with this bishop over here, computer doesn't like it. I will still go ahead and say that at this point looked okay for me against 2130. Yeah, you can never be sure, but this looked quite nicely handled. I must say it was a delight playing this game. Wonderful, magnificent. Alright, we will stop for now. We will stop. We will meet tomorrow 5 minutes earlier. We are going to have a tournament tomorrow, and all the best. It's a Swiss League. How many of you are actually have already enrolled in for the tournament? Let me know. How many of you have actually enrolled in the tournament before we end the stream? How many of you are enrolled in the tournament and people are like, bye? Okay, so now I get it. Okay, Prajna is there, Chinmay is there. Don't leave it for the very end, because then there are again players who will say that, I am not able to play. Yes, Swaroop, we changed to Swiss because what happens is everybody then plays equal number of rounds, and then even if you are late, okay, that is taken care of. People, if they are on a pause mode, they will lose. Those things, Swiss is better that way. Okay. Alright. So the point is, because of clad. What is clad? Ojas, what is clad, my dear? I am not there because of clad. Is that some course? What is clad? Rupak, it's okay. You continue to play in that under 12 under tournament, no problem. I'm going to start the stream at 6:55 tomorrow. Not 6:55. Yeah, 5:55. I beg your pardon. 5:55, 5 minutes earlier. Class, okay. So you got the spelling wrong there. Class. Okay, we will play then on some other time. Or just kindly share your ID and we will definitely play. But not tonight. Share your ID. Whenever we find time, we'll play. All the others, take care. Prepare well for the tournament tomorrow. No problem. Please, I want nobody to come and say tomorrow that we could not join because of the non-acceptance of the request. If you are still not a member of the team, make sure that you send the request now. Okay. Please take care. Bye bye. Ayush, remember your homework, please.